do have to fit into the team you're joining, and they're not used to playing with cards and fiddlesticks.
Sure, of course not, but Dignitas picked him for a reason. They think that when he plays Jarvan, Vi, Pantheon, and okay, maybe Fiddle, right, they can make that work. Dignitas, they want to be a go-in team, and we'll see if Azingy can fit that mold for these guys. They wanted him over Cloudwin, who was at least passable with these guys. Mylixia there, the coach for Dignitas, reading off. Thing is, I don't know why he's talking to KiWiKid. That guy can't click anything right now. It's all Gamsu.
We'll have to see. I feel like their pick and ban phases have been quite solid, considering Mylixia is not a full-time coach. He just does as much as he can helping out. KiWiKid actually had nothing but good things to say about Mylixia and what he has done to help out the team.
And as picks and bans go through Shiphtur, we talked about that.
Banned.
Yeah, the first ban Kassadin's huge.
We have to talk about that. I mean, it was, what was it, 3 games in a row that he's played Kassadin. 10-1-9 against Team 8. Even in their loss to COG, he was good on Kassadin. And 13-2 against Winterfox in their win. He was destroying people on Kassadin, but with that being down, I wonder if he goes to something like LeBlanc or if he defaults to Xerath. It'd be really interesting.
Or does he find another assassin? Does he play Zed or Talon or something suddenly and you know, get these big plays? Team Solomid, they banned the Thresh away. They're leaving up KiWiKid's Annie unless they first pick it, the Veigar away from Lustboy. Now, no Fiddlesticks ban. I will mention that in case Azingy does play it.
So, is that a thing? Would people ban Fiddlesticks in Challenger against Team Solomid Darkness?
So, TSM Darkness got, they went 1-1 against CLG Black, and Fiddle was banned both games, I believe. He did not go to his Karthus. He played Vi and Pantheon then. And then they played against TDK. They didn't ban Fiddlesticks. He didn't play it, and they got 2-0'd. So,
fair enough.
Every game they could have banned Fiddlesticks, or could have played Fiddlesticks and didn't, they lost. If that even counts as anything.
The Karthus manner. Lissandra makes sense in the first pick right here. One of the highest winner champions in the North American LCS.
Sorry, I just got excited.
Why not? 13-1, you can see Lissandra in North American LCS. Of course, TSM is the only team to have beaten Lissandra as well. It would make sense for the Annie. The Karthus would be stylish as well as potentially good for Azingy. I expect the Annie, I think they're going to be going with something like Vi here.
I think Annie Sivir would just make more sense being their contested champions. They're strong. They're things that Dignitas likes to play. It again makes me wonder why Thresh was banned, unless they're trying to make Dig pick Annie here and there's something else good coming soon for TSM.
That's very unexpected. Because KiWiKid relies so heavily normally on his Annie playmaking ability, but now Morg, The thing is, Morg can go in 3 different lanes. That is not necessarily a tell.
Yeah, so Dignitas picking up an early flex pick. Now, Lustboy, of course, is known to play the Annie, though, himself, and it seems like neither team really falling into that trap right now. Santorin gets his Rek'Sai. TSM maybe locking in all their solo lanes right away and waiting on their bot lane, interestingly enough. They do know they're facing Graves. I've heard different players say different things about how he fares in various matchups, but TSM just in opposite order, basically, have picked their top 3 players.
And TSM has also just kind of picked power picks here. There's no counter picking going on, and there really won't be that much counter picking going on by the end of it. They had a decent idea that they were against Graves Morg bottom lane. Yes, that could have flexed, but they could have very easily done that here. Since they had already decided to pick Bjergsen's champion, Maokai is a generalist pick as well. Why not just make sure they get the composition they want?
Well, this could be the time we see Hecarim actually succeed in the top lane, though, if they go for this one. That said, Gamsu really well known for his Renekton play. It will be Vi for Azingy. That's been one of his more successful champions, though. And we still keep Morgana as flex.
Yeah, not too surprised there by Dignitas' picks. It does seem like they're picking for comfort, which can be a good thing, but having the support and AD carry pick, especially since they're both utility picks there for TSM, saved for last, they still complete their team comp very well with those 2 picks. The Janna for the disengage on Renekton and Vi, as well as the Sivir just for general initiation because they have very good follow-up with Maokai and Lissandra.
Well, you asked what Dignitas is going to play in the mid lane now that Kassadin is banned. It looks like that champion's going to be Ezreal here for Shiphtur. So back to a more disengagey, long-range, safe-style champion.
And against Lissandra, I can't say I fully agree with that pick. It feels like the ability to engage from TSM could run right through that Ezreal. After all, he does just have the Arcane Shift to get away, and TSM's going to be able to close more distance than that.
I absolutely agree that they can get in really cleanly, and also keep in mind that Dignitas have also committed one of the big cardinal sins of a double AD comp, which is running an AD top and jungler as well. So you've got a mono damage team from Dignitas outside of Ezult and Smoke Bomb and support Morgana. So I am a little bit concerned for them, but you know what? Dignitas have been playing fairly well, and they think Azingy is going to be improving them, as TSM with this game can hold on to first place for sure.
Yeah, Locodoco giving the last few bits of advice to that team. I'm pretty sure that after every single pick and ban phase, he tells them, "We got this one in the bag," and he walks away. This time I tend to agree based on the team composition, though.
Yeah, well, we're going to see if that's going to happen. TSM could look pretty good on this one. Locodoco and Mylexia leave stage, and we're going to get ourselves ready for the game. So you guys have all seen the team comps. Now let us know who you think is going to win this one. Tweet hashtag TSM win or hashtag DIG win to @LOL Esports. Vote for your favorite team or the one you think is going to win. Both are acceptable.
Yeah, that's true. Oftentimes I feel like they're mainly just tweeting their favorite team.
Which tends to be TSM more than not.
You think?
By the crowd reaction typically tends to be. Guys, we are getting ourselves into the game. Here we go. Number 4 of the day. And we are starting off right. Because it's a pause. This gives us time to talk about these teams a little bit more then instead. So
yeah, Azingy, as the new player setup, is running into just a few hiccups here. You could see they were unpacking his keyboard for the first time. He had to have the sealed copy of his keyboard right there. And I imagine it is a technical issue related to one of those things. But yeah, I mean, we can keep talking about, I'd say the team compositions right now, because there are still ways that Dignitas can play this in order to pull ahead with the double AD composition that has Renekton, and it basically has to come from overwhelming lane victory, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. Dignitas gonna hope that works out well for them. However, TSM, they are playing something unusual for them, not unusual for the LCS, but it's Bjergsen's first Lissandra game, and he says, guys, we don't want to fall into bad habits. We want to make sure we keep improving every single time we play.
It's more just when you have been complacent before in the past, you can really catch yourself like, oh, am I doing this again? Why am I not like waking up on time? Why am I not perhaps like not eating before a scrim set or something? So we try to catch each other as a team constantly and talk to Loco about like, what are we doing? Are we being complacent or are we practicing at a top level?
And games like this are ones you don't want to be complacent about. It's a game you expect TSM to win with how far above Dignitas they are in the standings.
Yeah, and they definitely did have a small bit of complacency in their game against Gravity back in week 4 when they did that, you know, Zed with 7 offensive items from Bjergsen, and they ended up dying a whole bunch of times. But yeah, we are back into the game.
All right, we are back on this one. And curiously, if we can hover over this Vi, she has 26 ability power. Now, Ignite is not on cooldown. That's not the reason.
Oh, dear.
That is ability power, Quints, and Glyphs on Vi.
So what happened there was Azingy loaded into the game with the wrong runes. However, I believe because the rune check would have been done, you cannot remake the game if it is your own fault for going in with the wrong runes. If there is a bug determined that makes you go into the wrong runes, you can't. But this time, he does have the wrong runes in this game as Vi. Not the best place to start in the LCS.
Dignitas preparing the level 1 again. They did this against CLG. This time to less catastrophic results, though. And Lustboy loses a whole lot of health. And KiWiKid just got himself either 15 gold for that one. So, hey. Now, Azingy, I think, is just following in the footsteps of the late, great Hotshot GG, where in the very first LCS game ever, he played against TSM with no runes at all, and they won that game.
Is that the secret?
Yep.
I'm very interested to see how he can even sustain in the jungle as an AP start on Vi. This would have been like his Fiddlesticks or Karthus page, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, he had one ready. He clearly knew he could have played the champion. So the E does have an AP ratio. In fact, it'll do 18 bonus damage per cast. So his AoE is going to be real good later on in the game.
But for now, he's in trouble. This is not something TSM is going to realize until they see him. They will know there was a pause for a technical issue of some kind, but they obviously won't know the reason. I wonder if we'll see Santorin get to walk over this game a little bit, knowing the other jungler is so handicapped here.
And right now, standard clears, though. Vi tends to run attack damage and attack speed for those pages, so does punch weaker than normal. But, you know, so far so good. Vi, one of the, let's say, safer clearers thanks to that passive shield. And that aforementioned E bonus damage, he did learn at level 2.
It is just so slow, though. I mean, look where Santorin is in his jungle right now. He'd already cleared 2 camps. Krugs were taken elsewhere, and he's already made it to his blue buff, whereas Azingy with the same 2-camp clear is a good 10 to 15 seconds behind. But we know how that is. We're probably going to have to focus on the rest of the map here. Santorin should have a big edge.
Yeah, so we have gotten ourselves into standard lanes. Shiphtur 1v1ing Bjergsen in the mid lane. This used to be one of the big marquee matchups in the North American LCS as well, where Shiphtur was one of the players that could really challenge Bjergsen's throne as best mid NA.
Yeah, Shiphtur's definitely had a decent-sized fall-off since he had the amazing Deathless KDA type games, especially in his CS. I mean, if you compare amongst mid laners this year, CS at 10, Bjergsen is the #1 mid laner at 83, and Shiphtur is the #9 mid laner at 71. It's a very big difference. So picking Ezreal and Dignitas needing to win this early game / laning phase heavily in order to win the game puts them in a pretty difficult position.
So they can keep their heads in it, and Dignitas can maybe get out of these lanes. We look at the rest of the matchups, and actually, they're kind of all pretty grim right now. You can look at the scoreboard down there. Renekton, of all champions, curiously actually behind just a little bit under Dyrus, but he's pushed in, so you expect that to go back up. But their bot lane, CoreJJ and KiWiKid, a lane we have actually complimented many times for the laning plays. Maybe they turn it around here. A little bit of a trade, but they're down 9 minions early game.
I've actually seen this bottom lane matchup fall in the side of Sivir in really good Sivir players because they can spell shield the buckshot and then try and out-trade that way. Wildturtle and Lustboy have not been typically strong laners in the NALCS thus far, partly because Wildturtle takes bad trades and partly because Lustboy is very committed to roaming and helping the rest of the map.
That's true.
This one will be currently in the favor of Wildturtle, but there's always kill pressure when you're against KiWiKid and CoreJJ.
We'll see how much pressure as well the Vi and Rek'Sai can put in as this game goes on as well. As they get pushed down and back, ward control ends up being a really important factor, and KiWiKid did just put a trinket ward in the lane brush, meaning he's missing one for River. So either they miss vision control or Azingy wards for them. And that might spell Santorin coming in.
So, talking about this game a little bit more team comp-wise, Dyrus has a very straightforward build path here. I think he wants to get Frozen Heart almost as quickly as possible. Maybe he does the Rod of Aegis to Frozen Heart, but I'd almost expect this to be one of those Catalyst to Righteous Glory games with a very quick Frozen Heart. Because as soon as Dyrus becomes a big-time frontline, he shuts down pretty much everybody on Team Dignitas. Yes, Gamsu and Azingy can have small amounts of armor shred, but that's just simply not enough to deal with an incredibly tanky Maokai Rek'Sai frontline. Basically, before Dyrus gets Frozen Heart, Dignitas needs to have an edge on this game.
KiWiKid's Ignite has to flash away early and thankfully dodges the Void Spike, but in comes Azingy at the same time. Nice knockup by Santorin, stops the damage, and out goes Azingy. Level 5 Rek'Sai flash knockup onto CoreJJ as well. The binding misses. The flash from Wildturtle is not enough, but the Void Spike's going to be, and Santorin picks up first blood.
Oh no.
Oh, Shiphtur nearly gets 2 of them for it.
Yeah, that was a very close engagement right there. Azingy had some nice timing on his counter gank. That was the right position for him to be in as Vi. But he was not able to get his Vault Breaker onto the priority target. They ended up barely dying on the fall away, and then Shiphtur only barely able to salvage that because the lanes are still losing.
Yeah, they absolutely are. He's down in minions, and keep in mind it was first blood gold plus an assisted kill, so it's actually, that kill is worth twice as much as Dignitas's kill, even though the scoreboard says 1-1. TSM do get that 90% vote, to the surprise of probably no one. Oh!
Yeah, that's when the Shiphtur ultimate killed someone.
Yep.
Back 3%.
And pulling in a lot of the fans by himself. We'll see if that can keep going. Santorin just hopping through some tunnels. He could have just used one right there.
I feel like he has an excess of tunnels in that lane. As far as this gank is concerned, though, KiWiKid, nice timing on the flash. And TSM had burned plenty of their cooldowns right there. Wow. And Azingy just was a little too short with that flash Q. He could have potentially Q flashed and completely avoided Santorin. He didn't expect the giant model size of Rek'Sai to interrupt his vault breaker because it was right on the edge of that thing.
Yeah.
That honestly could have gone either way.
Absolutely could have, but unfortunately a little bit too close. And if I do know my mechanics correctly, simply right-clicking someone as Rek'Sai will automatically pop up when they are in range. So
to auto attack, yes, because it will queue up the auto attack.
Right. So Turtle late on the spell shield means Buckshot comes in after a second and a half, and Wildturtle takes a pretty bad trade, but he is still up BF sword in this lane matchup.
Yeah, but because of the BF sword, he has a somewhat lack of health potions. His ability to sustain back up there is diminished. He did spell shield the all-important ultimate, though, saving his skin.
That was absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Wait, was that a Lustboy shield or a spell shield, though? Because I'm unsure which.
I'll have to double check, but I believe that looked like a spell shield. Wildturtle also spell shielded that Lissandra. I'll check that right now for you.
All right. But either way, though, fast reaction from someone certainly meant no meaningful damage was taken in that trade overall. And CoreJJ's flash now missing due to the fast reactions of the TSM bot lane.
It was not a spell shield. It was just Lustboy and potentially misjudged managed by CoreJJ. I thought it would have been in kill range.
Close, but not quite enough. So Dignitas losing out on a summoner and 1,000 gold right here. They're trying to keep themselves some level of vision control by contesting Scuttle Crabs. And they can try to hold Santorin down if they can get vision there. But now it's already the invades are happening. Santorin was the one who got the Scuttler down here. He went in, got the blue buff as well. Azingy is late to the party. Doesn't have anything to do. Bjergsen just nearby in case something happened. Clears a pink, gets a ward down. TSM have now 5 wards in Dignitas' side of the map at this time. It's actually 6.
Just spectacular vision control. Tracking Azingy's every movement. Santorin able to just keep the pressure up as Rek'Sai. The mid lane is fairly easily going the way of Bjergsen. I'm actually a little bit flabbergasted he's rushed a Negatron cloak against an AD mid laner.
It's not. Look at those items. I just saw it.
Oh, it's an AP Ezreal.
It's AP Ezreal.
We're foolish.
Shiphtur's maxing W first.
I've been too focused on the other stuff this game, freak. All right.
I only just saw it now. Yeah. I was going to say it right before you did.
Yeah. That's why I was flabbergasted about the item build. Bjergsen clearly paying attention to the item choices.
Oh my god, though. Bottom lane gank comes off. Great Vialt and Lustboy not able to spell shield that one. Wildturtle, rather. And Lustboy takes a Morgana ult, just walks out. No spells left at the top lane dive. 3-man to the top lane. They're going to take down Gamsu. So same idea as other side of the map. Bit of wave clear. And they will not get top lane turret, but Dig will go for Dragon.
Yeah, a flurry of action erupting right there with the kill bottom lane as well as the kill top lane. And now Dignitas is trying to take the objective off the back because they were the ones focusing ganks bottom lane. That is, by nature, the benefit of focusing ganks bottom lane is if you do have success, you get to turn it into a team objective as well. Kill on a pretty good target there for Team Dignitas with CoreJJ, as well as being able to pick up this Dragon.
Alrighty, so equal in kills still, but Dignitas losing the laning phase by virtue of farm here. You can see a 10 minion difference in the top lane, a 25 minion in the mid. Let's actually watch the Vi gank we missed.
Yeah, and it's surprising that this was able to be successful because of the wards, but since Azingy just queued over the wall to an instant ultimate, it was a poor kiting choice by Wildturtle to favor the river when literally everything is warded. Very surprised they were able to die to a Vi gank after spending so many wards for that very same security. Props to Azingy to making it work.
Absolutely, props to him. So 0-1-1 going for the Trailblazer for now. Merlin Namakan now completed on the Ezreal, so low cooldowns for Ezreals.
Yeah.
Should be a whole lot of wave clear.
And a little bit of mana regeneration as well. This is what we now have to talk about because we've been neglecting it so much, and it kind of changes our storyline a little bit. Dignitas being that fully physical damage team, the only way they actually have a chance late game is if Shiphtur does hit 400 to 500 AP as well as having a Lich Bane, and can then make it so TSM actually has to put some of their defensive gold into magic resist, which is already working a bit in the early game, making Bjergsen go for that Negatron cloak.
Gamsu, realizing he was going to die, teleports out of lane. Recall wouldn't have been enough. He will lose the turret for it. All the same, I think Ezreal still not going to be enough. They will knock it down. So the roaming from Santorin and Bjergsen. Now again, the ulti, nice spell shield blocks Morgana Soul Shackle, and the counter engage is here. No TP, of course, from Gamsu means CoreJJ is going to die to Wildturtle. 3-2 in this game.
Really nice job by Dyrus to teleport right there. This is actually one of the few games where Dyrus gets a lot of attention, ganks top lane. The second time they sent 3-man ganking top lane, Gamsu teleports away. The first one was a kill, and this allowed Dyrus the freedom to have the teleport edge and get that kill. Santorin from behind the jungle.
Hold on, though. The ulti is not going to be up from Lissandra. Now, can Azingy survive? The answer is no. Bjergsen could go for a 2-kill here. Jumps by just in time. 50 health left on Shiphtur.
Wow. The sustained damage there with the max Q on Lissandra like everyone does to kind of turn that one around. Bottom lane gank, though, we'll just get to see kind of the overexposure by Dignitas right here. KiWiKid flashing in because they thought they had the 3v2. However, it was a 3v3 with a very large top laner. CoreJJ had also overexpended himself. Kind of lucky to not lose KiWiKid in that one as well. Great teleport time. And this game is actually getting out of hand pretty quick.
It is. It's 3,500 gold up at 13.5 minutes. That's a pretty decent margin here for TSM. Their wards actually, so they haven't even knocked down all the outer turrets yet, and they're warding like behind the buffs. You're seeing one that Gamsu's walking by right here in the north jungle. It's actually behind red buff. They can actually potentially see Azingy just barely with that ward. CoreJJ just walked over one as well. TSM are constantly getting this incredibly good vision control.
And a lot of that is on Santorin. It's a little bit easier to do with Rek'Sai as well. Once people have gotten used to using the tremor sense on Rek'Sai, this is going to be tricky for him to find that ward.
All right.
But he does it just in time. Because as he's moving around, not only can Vi be spotted by any of the wards I've already placed, but if anyone else is near, he will be tipped off well in advance. Plus, you look at guys like Dyrus and Bjergsen, they're pretty much been pushing their lane opponent back to the turret to begin with, so he'd be able to get back up as well. Sidestone on Rek'Sai, continual vision coverage, and it makes a much more measured match for TSM.
4,000 gold now. Since we last checked in, these guys absolutely destroying the bot lane. Not going to get pressured too easily. Azingy standing on a ward as he does this. Dyrus, thanks to the wards of Santorin, is safe to push in this far. Like basically underneath tier 2 turret. He's not being pressured. More wards come out. Lustboy's been rotated top lane.
There needs to be pressure elsewhere on the map if Team Dignitas wants to save off this Gamsu camp that is basically happening. It's very smart of Azingy to be bottom lane here, since he is the weaker jungler right now, to avoid the enemy jungler and apply some lane pressure.
So Wildturtle Lustboy, they left the lane without really clearing the wave enough, and it allowed Dig to push back in. Gamsu now going to go for the fight up against Dyrus. The minion wave is getting cleared on both sides. A nice knockback in 6 seconds still on the Ruthless Predator. Means no chase available for Renekton. He burns the ulti for mostly nothing. Bjergsen getting another blue buff here at level 11. And he's still looking pretty good.
Yeah, Gamsu has been a beast in the last few games, especially when he is playing Renekton. It's interesting to see how TSM is definitely just trying to camp him as much as possible, knowing that he is the guy who could get going and really cause huge problems in team fights, at least in the mid-game. Keeping him down has been successful. They just have to watch out from the long game from Shiphtur as he's building up those ability power items.
Yeah, he's building best he can, missing a little bit of minions just because it's a bit harder to CS under turret as AP Ezreal. Your Q is on a higher cooldown, has less base damage, you don't have any attack damage in the first place, but the build seems to be
strange. We're so used to seeing the Trinity Force Muramana Ezreal that we just all assume, I assume,
good laner,
we're
AD
just going to see that again.
I want to see if it's Lich Bane.
It has to be.
Well, I mean, obviously the Sheen's going to turn to that at some point, but I wonder if that's just next is all.
If he went Morellonomicon to an Iceborne Gauntlet, I would be so angry.
Oh, doesn't quite land that one. Santorin is safe, and he knows Dignitas is over the wall over there.
That was so clever there by Santorin, though. One thing that people love to do against Rek'Sai is get into a brush and then stand still, because Tremor Sense will not reveal people that are not moving, especially since they're on top of a pink ward. The fact that he recognized that was a hole in his vision just to shoot something in there and make sure they were still there, I find really impressive. Santorin's playing great this game.
Gamsu has teleport, but the ward control's here for TSM. There will be no contest for the Dragon, just a true shot barrage. Now top lane is being pushed all the same, so Gamsu might knock down a turret, and in fact he will. So TSM's first Dragon will get traded in for this outer turret that fell down. So Dignitas still doing well to trade, but we're not able to push mid out despite no one there defending.
Honestly, the fact that Team Dignitas has been able to pick up 2 turrets here is very good for their chances. The game was kind of running away from them when it was 2 turrets to 0, since they had been getting pushed back so heavily in lanes. But because they've been pushed back in lanes, the fact that turrets are 2 for 2 right now speaks to some sloppy wave management there by TSM. I'm very surprised they allowed Gamsu to get that return turret after being so heavily pressured through the early game.
Yeah. Well, speaking of pressure through the early game, though, Bjergsen has managed to keep Shiphtur's turret very well pressured. It's nearly dead, and Shiphtur hit 200 minions at almost exactly 18 minutes. Definitely one of the faster marks we've seen in the North American LCS. He hasn't been under any pressure at all. No kill threat, no ganks seem to be attempted, and Bjergsen just hasn't missed any minions as a result of that. And you're right, there's the Frozen Heart into Righteous Glory for Dyrus, by the way. That is the build after all.
Yeah, he made it to his Frozen Heart. Not as important because of the AP Ezreal, but I would still say it's quite significant since it is not much mixed damage coming out of the jungle either. It's pretty much 3 full physical damage dealers and just the AP Ezreal and Morgana for magic damage.
There we go, TSM get themselves that mid lane turret. So, TSM's some lead is overall out CS-ing.
He's got to run fast. He is getting cut off.
Oh, be careful. Blue Trinket is going to spot that something was happening. And it's that Azingy is trying to desperately run away. He does have KiWiKid around, but KiWiKid moves, so they know he's there as well. The binding's going to miss. Black Shield into ulti. Lissandra doing the same thing, though, and they pick up 1. They're going to pick up 2 almost for sure, and they do. They lead him into KiWiKid for the death.
Team Solomid recognized when they had Azingy out of position. They just chased him, cutting off all areas of retreat. Ended up costing KiWiKid as well, who would have wanted to just try and recall away as that collapse was happening.
Wildturtle spotting the Ezreal through a ward. Easy spell shield, blue buff, steal all the same by knocking everyone down. And Team Solomid, you mentioned maybe missing a couple of minion waves here and there and not keeping them under control, but by and large still they are playing much better as a team, constantly in the face. Dyrus now contesting a red buff. Lustboy's going to ward that up. Just there is really nowhere Dignitas can go without being spotted.
Yeah, this is not quite a perfect game by TSM. I'm sure there's things that they would have liked to do better in the first 20 minutes. You know, not giving up the top lane turret to Gamsu, not getting killed by that Ezreal ult early on when they could have just hopefully seen it called out by Bjergsen and being more on the alert for it. But aside from that, strategically, they've played quite well. Their lanes are generally stronger here. Their team composition in the late game is better, and they're controlling the early game with a better late game team, which can't really ask for much more.
You really can't. So TSM looking poised to continue their dominance of first place. With a win here, they actually would guarantee first place by the end of the week, if you count tiebreakers against CLG. And so, still looking like the great North American hope. I got to run into them and ask them where their sort of priorities lie. In terms of, are you prepping for your opponents this week? Are you prepping maybe for IEM? That's in about a week and a half for these guys.
Good question.
And he said, well, I mean, it's a mix of both. Like, we do care about prepping for IEM because it's international, you know, this is important, but Wildturtle certainly did not say that he was slacking off at the NALCS prep. And we're very poised to beat these guys up. Azingy getting caught out one more time by Bjergsen, forced to flash out. Black Shield keeps him safe. Good save by KiWiKid. TSM just continuing to mount pressure. Dyrus is now splitting in the bottom lane in case these guys want to rush a Baron at some point.
I think they're going to go for that right now. Doesn't look like there's all that much Dignitas can do about it. geez. I mean, KiWiKid could ward and they could teleport in with Gamsu, but even that would be pretty dangerous. They know Azingy's gone, so the threat of a steal is low. Shiphtur's ultimate did come up, though. He's got to shoot it off to try and steal.
He's going to try. No, not going to be quite in time. Good smite at about 600 health from Santorin means Baron at 22 minutes goes to Team Solomid.
Yeah, this game could actually be over sooner rather than later with the way it's moving along right now. Dyrus reaching his tank items. Bjergsen reaching some major item spikes as well with Morgana and Zonya's finished. Plus the catch potential they have with Wildturtle. They're in position to make some big power plays now.
And the cool thing about these guys is those 3 melee minions have 80% damage reduction to champions. So Shiphtur's Lichbane, or even the ultimate, they would wave clear well. Lichbane gives him 180 bonus damage on his Q, or anything that has a trigger on it, but just simply can't kill the minions off if someone for TSM are babysitting them. And we'll see what they actually try to do with their gold lead.
To talk a bit about the TSM story and where their focus is, honestly. I mean, we've seen through their show TSM Legends as well that it's kind of all about the long game and overall team improvement. While yes, it's important to win week over week, it's more important that they're always improving as a team. The episode they actually had, whoopsie daisy. The episode they actually had last week showed Reginald after that game they had against Gravity, which was very sloppy near the end. Wildturtle flashing for a kill on the Nexus. Bjergsen building nothing but offensive items on Zed and dying a few times. Showed a little bit of messing around, trolling in the game a little bit. And Reginald said that he doesn't ever want to see that again because it leads to sloppiness and complacency, which is something they absolutely cannot have. So that's why they want to be able to make quick work of the bottom tier teams in the North American LCS and why they're not necessarily fully focused on it week to week, because it is about the team progression mindset and week over week improvement.
And it is partially what we attribute the last week loss to Team Liquid as was, look, we're going to try new things out. We're in first place. We feel comfortable with our playoff position so far. Let's get new things in the repertoire. Let's make sure we're ready for playoff. Let's make sure we're ready for the World Championship. Let's make sure we understand what Hecarim top and Victor mid do. Bjergsen playing his very first Lissandra game this year, this game, and the amount he's roamed out of lane helped Dyrus, something else new for TSM, get Dyrus rolling.
Yep.
This part of the TSM, let's learn new things strategy is working.
Oh,
nice.
Man, Santorin. That was rude. So that ward actually isn't spotted because the rock cuts off the vision line. So Gamsu didn't realize that was ward, and of course now the ward dies. So it's definitely not there.
We'll never know. So man, that tremor sense really got me.
Yeah, so if you're pink warding that brush, you actually want the pink ward a little bit farther back so the vision line doesn't get cut off on the other side of that brush.
And Bjergsen making the top lane siege. 20 minutes in, the blue elixir, he seems to do that very frequently. And it gives him a lot of extra damage when he knocks down turrets. But they rotate right away to mid lane. They pulled so many guys top that they can push mid. Tier 2 is going to die. Dyrus leads the charge. There we go, 200 more gold onto the Maokai. And back to top lane.
Yep, they're going to try and get the 6 turrets down. Obviously, their Baron wasn't maximized for any types of team fights because Dignitas recognized that if they lost a fight during the Baron buff, the game would be over. That doesn't mean Dignitas is strong enough to actually fight either. So the outer turrets, the ones that are harder to defend, are most likely taken down here by TSM. Dignitas has to run.
There's the try to engage. They're going to find a whole lot with Lissandra and Maokai. 1 casualty so far, make that 2. TSM fighting under inhibitor turrets and making Dignitas run away. This turret's going to be now a quick claim for TSM as they wave clear some minions away. There's turret number 6 and kill number 8.
Yeah, Dignitas was hoping to maybe bait a fight that stretches into their inhibitor turrets where they can use the vast power of that laser to take down some of the tanks, because right now their champions certainly aren't strong enough to do so. Wasn't quite enough, though. They died before they could really get to safety. Here we see Dyrus just jumping in with Righteous Glory. The pile-on team composition. I mean, this is what we saw in Champion Select. Then they somewhat avoid the turret aggro because Bjergsen has Zonya's, Santorin gets the Janna shield, and they get their damage out on people that did not have the damage reduced by the turret. Lustboy's going to try something cheeky here. Wildturtle is going to do the brute force method.
Oh, Shiphtur has no wards at all. There's the flash in by Lustboy and everyone else. There's the quick kill pickup. Blue buff to Wildturtle and a red for killing Ezreal, I believe. No, I take that part back. You already had it. But either way, yeah, get the blue. Why the heck not? Still a good buff. 6 turrets down. Baron's timed out. No dragon just yet. but time to push in some bases.
It's looking like TSM is going to try their best here. Dignitas has okay wave clear because of the Graves, and it is kind of hard to dive against the smoke screen as well. But TSM is going to try and shove up as many waves as possible. Eliminate the wave clear possibilities from Dig. They're going to try a desperation fight here.
He's going to get some good damage on Bjergsen, but Zonius is still up for the guy, and they already pick off the Vi. Bjerg not forced to use any of his major cooldowns for this. CoreJJ will finally take the Liss ulti, and that's a 2 for 0 so far. Frozen Tomb really living up to its name. Gamsu now also falling 3 for 0. And a Mini Wave coming in top and mid right now.
I don't blame Team Dignitas for taking that fight. They knew they had to do something, and why not try and fight while the team is a little bit split up, but it gives up the inhibitor. Baron's on the way in a minute. Maybe Team Solomid tries to take another turn, or they just wait for their seemingly inevitable victory.
And for now, they're going to keep the minion waves mopped up. Bot is pushing back towards the TSM side of the map, so maybe that has to be held at some point in the next minute and a half. But they just picked up another 3,000 gold from recent fights. Let's recall, let's buy some more items. Phantom Dancer's done now on Sivir. Why not get a full Last Whisper in one purchase?
Wow.
Yeah, he's ahead.
How much gold was he actually shopping with? 3,100 gold.
So that was individually in Wildturtle, not just all of TSM. Okay. I was close.
Now for Team Solomid, based on, honestly, what I saw in the TSM Legend show, it's all about ending the game quickly and cleanly. They probably don't want to suffer any more deaths. They don't want to do any stylish plays. They just want to execute and close the game in as concise a way as possible. Probably waiting for the Baron, and then pushing up one of the exposed lanes and going from there. Making sure they don't get caught out by trying to push the lanes up. Just play clean.
So off they send Maokai to the bot lane. Baron just respawned. Dragons in 30. Of course, Maokai has teleport, so Dignitas, even though they feel like they might be ahead, they're actually not, and they're running away from this one. Black Shield will stop Santorin from unburrowing under Azingy. But either way, Dignitas are still the team pushed away, even though Wildturtle was actually nowhere to be seen for that fight. He's only just now rejoining TSM.
Well, Bjergsen was scary enough.
Oh, of course he is. Azingy again, gotta be real careful. Void Spike, can't quite land the slow, but there's Chilling Smite. Jumps just far enough over the wall to get away from the reach. And once again gets out. Now they're trying to knock down Dyrus. They spend CoreJJ and Gamsu's time to do this. It is a 4 versus 3 elsewhere on the map. This Maokai still slowly running away. There's the flash burn by Gamsu for a stun. But Dyrus is gonna die. The last attack crits. Ezreal comes in early.
So now you'd want Gamsu to teleport in to try and save this one, but there's just not enough people on Dignitas in the surrounding area, and they're still going to be able to turn a Baron off this, I think.
Oh,
he still has teleport. Gamsu should use it.
Shiphtur goes in, looks for the Baron. He goes down first, though. And TSM do claim that one for themselves. Santorin had used Smite, I believe, to help kill the enemy jungler. It makes it a overall 2 for 1, and then Baron number 2.
Gonna say that wasn't clean.
No.
If I had to say it. But they do get the Baron. A few more kills across the board. Dyrus suffers his first death. Shiphtur tried to make the hero play.
Uh-oh. Gamsu stayed a little bit long. This is going to be a much shorter chase than the last one. He didn't even move. He knew. They ran empowered recalls. They ran through the jungle to flank him. That was nice.
Dragon number 3 on the way.
Yep. Well, Team Solomid, 31 minutes now into the game. Middle inhibitor got taken down. They grabbed Baron. They grabbed Dragon right after. The Maokai split push worked. He died, but so what? You got Baron for it. Bjergsen was outside the pit that whole time waiting for Azingy. They picked him off well before Baron was stealable. That was pretty nice.
Bjergsen with the Baron buff as well as a death cap completion puts his ability power at 751. On the Lissandra. Very little magic resistance has been able to be bought by Dignitas. Plus the Baron minions are here. Dyrus takes the turret. Bjergsen, no! Caught out on his own.
A bit alone in this one. Gonna pop the instant Zonius as well, which means he dodges CoreJJ's ultimate, and it's a 1 for 0 so far. Azingy also getting caught, and there's just no damage output left for TSM. Bjergsen maybe just baited all of Dignitas by himself. Dig forced run away. Nice route there for Dyrus. Can they knock down Gamsu? The answer is yes. Bjergsen shows up. Maybe he can't. Nope. Okay, take it back. Double kill for Dyrus. Shiphtur getting chased by Santorin. He might just die. One more attack. No, he's going to heal.
That'll be it. They have Baron minions and 4 people live. TSM looks like they're going to be closing out this game with Baron, I think.
Looks like they should be able to. Shiphtur now with no ultimate. 3 seconds on the Morgana. There goes Nexus turret number 2 right here. And with Wildturtle being the only casualty of the fight, they are now going to go for the fight. Shiphtur gets 1. Still goes down. This will be the Nexus finally. 32 minutes, 23 seconds into the game. TSM in control the entire time.
Some pretty quick games today, honestly. A lot of these North American teams have been able to end the match in a fairly quick fashion. This one by TSM, it showed them being in control for the majority of the game. Obviously, a lot of that came from the strength of Bjergsen. This time, it was Bjergsen making his own advantage and then helping out Dyrus more so. I mean, we talked about that at the start of the day. Dyrus normally having to fend off 1 to 3 attackers. This time he turned the tables on Gamsu, had his own team to back him up, shut him down.
Absolutely impressive play by the whole of TSM, really. Wildturtle with a lot of very clutch spell shields. The one where he blocked a Flash Soul Shack was very impressive. Lustboy with a clutch shield to block a Graves collateral damage earlier on in the game. Just the small mechanical plays, very nice by TSM. Bjergsen's roaming, as you mentioned, very good as well. Smiles on the faces of this team, and why not? This was a largely very well-played game for these guys.
Yeah, it definitely was. That moves them to 9-2. Staying in first place. Really unfortunate debut by Azingy for Team Dignitas. Going into the match with the wrong rune page, kind of stopping him before. You don't need to stack disadvantages like that. First game with the new team against the #1 team in the North American LCS, and you start with 26 ability power. Doesn't help.
Doesn't help indeed. Maybe, you know, he gets into that counter gank 10 seconds faster and he turns that one around. I mean, it's a lot of hypotheticals that you maybe don't want to waste your breath talking about. It's hard to say, like, you know, this was one of the key reasons that that one gank couldn't turn it all around, but certainly Azingy 0-7-2.
I mean, it puts you in a hole before the game begins.
Sure it does.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, that's fair.
So he would have had to play that much more better than Santorin.
No, you're right. So that one, that did not happen there. Shiphtur on Ezreal, losing team, but 3-3-0. CoreJJ actually the same score line. So, like, you're still seeing individual contributions are there for Dignitas, and I feel like outside of them trying to find a jungler that works, individual contributions was never the problem for Dig.
Right.
But it's getting the entire team on the same page, or getting the entire team on the same skill level almost, really, where they're trying to find an LCS